Hello, true crime enthusiasts, and welcome back to our channel. Have you ever come across a case so bizarre, so utterly baffling, that it seems to defy all logic? The kind of mystery where the more you learn, the less you understand. Today, we're delving deep into the shadows of criminal history to explore 5 of the strangest murders that, to this day, make absolutely no sense. These aren't just unsolved cases. They are puzzles with missing pieces, riddles wrapped in enigmas, where the who, why, and how remain frustratingly out of reach. So, grab a blanket, dim the lights, and prepare to question everything you think you know about crime. Let's begin. Our first case takes us to Australia, to Somerton Beach in 1948. A well-dressed man was found deceased, propped against a seawall. There were no signs of a struggle, no identification, and all the labels on his clothing had been meticulously removed. An autopsy revealed congestion and internal bleeding, suggesting poison, but none was ever detected. The strangest clue, a tiny, tightly rolled piece of paper found in a hidden fob pocket of his trousers. On it were the printed words, Tamum Shud, meaning it is ended in Persian, torn from the final page of a rare collection of poems called the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam. Police eventually located the exact book from which the page was torn. Inside its back cover, they found faint indentations, a handwritten, cryptic message that looked like a code. It has never been deciphered. Was he a spy? A jilted lover? A man running from his past? Despite international efforts, and even a recent exhumation of his body for DNA analysis, the identity of the Somerton man and the meaning of his final, cryptic message remained one of the world's most enduring mysteries. Next, we journey to Kansas City, Missouri, in January 1935. A man checking into the hotel president under the name Roland T. Owen asked for an interior room on a high floor. He was given room 1046. Over the next 2 days, hotel staff reported strange behavior. Owen seemed paranoid, often keeping the room dark and insisting on locking the door from the outside. A maid heard 2 men arguing inside, one saying, "No, Doan, I don't want to eat." Later, a woman's voice was heard. The next morning, the hotel operator found the phone off the hook. A bellboy was sent to check and found the door locked. Using a master key, he entered to find Owen lying on the bed, naked, in the dark. The room was in disarray. He had been brutally beaten, tied up with cords around his neck, wrists, and ankles, and had suffered a skull fracture and multiple stab wounds. Astonishingly, he was still conscious, but only managed to say that he fell against the bathtub. He died at the hospital shortly after. The police investigation revealed that Rowan Tien Owen was a fake name. His real name was Artemis Ogletree. No one named Doan was ever identified, nor was the mystery woman. There was no sign of the attacker's weapon, and Owen's clothes were missing. Who was with him in that room, and why would they subject him to such a prolonged and brutal attack, only to leave without a trace? Room 1046 holds its secrets tightly. Our third case is the chilling tale of the Hinterkaifeck farm in Germany. In 1922, the 6 members of the Gruber family were found murdered. The victims were Andreas Gruber, his wife Cecilia, their widowed daughter Victoria, and her 2 children, Cecilia and Joseph, along with the family's new maid, Maria Baumgartner, days before the murders. Andreas had told neighbors about strange footprints in the snow leading from the forest to the farm, but none leading away. He heard footsteps in the attic and found an unfamiliar newspaper. A set of house keys had also gone missing. The family was systematically lured one by one into the barn and killed with a mattock, a type of pickaxe. The killer then went inside the house and murdered the young boy and the maid in their beds. What makes this case profoundly unsettling is what happened next. The perpetrator apparently remained at the farm for several days after the murders. Neighbors reported seeing smoke from the chimney. The cattle had been fed, and food had been eaten from the kitchen. It was as if someone was living there, among the bodies. Hundreds of people were interviewed, but no one was ever charged. The motive remains a complete mystery. Was it robbery? Revenge? Or something far more sinister lurking in the woods around Hint? The sheer cold-bloodedness and the strange, domestic behavior of the killer afterwards make this one of Germany's most horrifying and perplexing crimes. let us move to a case that feels like it was ripped from a spy novel. The death of Gunther Stoll. In 1984, this unemployed German food engineer was becoming increasingly paranoid. He would talk to his wife about them, an unknown group of people who were out to get him. On the night of his death, he suddenly yelled, "Hetzt hit, mir hein, Licht auf," which translates to, "Now I've got it," or "A light has dawned on me." He then scribbled the letters Jags on a piece of paper, immediately crossed them out, and drove off in his Volkswagen Golf. 2 hours later, around 3 a.m., 2 truck drivers discovered Stoll's crashed car in a ditch off the Autobahn. He mumbled something about 4 men who had been with him in the car, who were not his friends, before dying on the way to the hospital. He had been run over by a different vehicle, at a different location, and then placed back into his own car, which was then deliberately crashed. And the mysterious note, "Jags," has never been decoded. Was it a license plate number? A code? A random delusion? The case of Gunther Stoll is a frustrating labyrinth of paranoia, a cryptic note, and a bizarre series of events that culminated in a lonely death on a dark highway. Who were they? And what did Stoll finally understand that cost him his life? Our final case is perhaps one of the most famous locked room mysteries ever recorded: the murder of Isidor Fink. In March 19, in New York City, Fink ran a small laundry service out of his apartment. One evening, a neighbor heard screaming and a thud from Fink's flat. She alerted a police officer who was nearby. They found the door bolted from the inside, and the windows were nailed shut. The officer lifted a small boy through the transom window above the door. The boy unbolted it from the inside, and what they found was baffling. Isidor Fink was dead on the floor with 3 gunshot wounds, 2 in his chest and 1 in his wrist, which was also powder burned, suggesting he'd struggled with his attacker. But the room was sealed tight from the inside. There was no murder weapon, no shell casings, and the only money in the room was untouched in Fink's pockets. How could a killer shoot Fink 3 times and then vanish from a hermetically sealed room, taking the gun and casings with them? Theories ranged from a contortionist killer who escaped through the tiny transom window to an elaborate suicide, but none of the evidence supported them. The case of Isidor Fink remains the ultimate locked room puzzle, a seemingly impossible crime that has stumped investigators and amateur sleuths for nearly a century. And there you have it, 5 cases that defy explanation, leaving behind more questions than answers. From a coded message on a beach to a killer who lived with his victims, these stories remind us that sometimes the truth is stranger and more terrifying than any fiction. What are your theories on these cases? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you found these mysteries as captivating as I do, please give this video a thumbs up and consider subscribing Dark Files for more deep dives into the unexplained. Thanks for watching, and stay safe out there.